Majorie Greene has said that Donald Trump called her personally to convince her that they should not vote for the Epstein files to be released. And the main reason she gave is that Donald Trump said that his friends are going to be hurt. The friends of Donald Trump are going to be hurt. I don't think that you need any evidence to convince you that that's true, because after some of these files were released, we saw some of the individuals who were in these files were in close proximity with Donald Trump. Most individuals who voted for the whole issue of Epstein files to be released, more especially from the Republican Party, are kind of going through tough times. One of those individuals is Majorie Greene, who had a split with Donald Trump, and she was forced to resign in January 5th this year, that is in 2026. And also, we have the likes of Thomas Massey, who is going through tough times at the same time. I believe at the moment there are high chances but that Thomas Massey may lose the Republican representative campaign which they are currently going through. And also we have Nancy Mace. I don't know how that name is going to be pronounced. And also we have another person known as Lauren Boebert. Those are the individuals who have gone through tough times after they split or they went against the belief of Donald Trump. And this is something which most individuals need to realize, that the whole idea, which maybe you may differ with me, but the whole idea that in the United States you are allowed to have some freedom of speech, it's not something which is actually true. Why am I saying this? Thomas Massey, in his argument or in his defense, is trying to say that most of the time he tries to vote, like 90%, he has always supported the Republican Party. But the split between him and Donald Trump came when he opposed the whole issue of Epstein files, and there were other some arguments which led also to the split. For Majorie Greene, this was also the case. She has said that it's because he supported the whole idea of releasing the Epstein files. That's why there was a strained relationship between her and Donald Trump, and this led her to resign from her post. And it's this issue which has made Majorie Greene to go strong against Donald Trump in terms of he is not ready to support the Epstein class who are trying to hide the individuals who harmed young girls. Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to the whole issue of Majorie Greene accusing Donald Trump as one of those individuals who is a supporter of the Epstein class, and he has also gone ahead and started the wars with the campaign on? Majorie Greene has said the MAGA movement, the initial MAGA movement, leave the whole issue of the MAGA movement, which now as it, we have Mark Levine, we have the likes of Ben Shapiro, and we also have Benjamin Netanyahu in the control. But the initial MAGA movement was against the wars. Now, most individuals do understand that the United States is involved in a war against Iran, where the whole globe is now experiencing the challenges or the problems which are associated with the shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz. Even the Americans are not shielded from that disadvantage. There are high prices which are being experienced in the gas stations. We used to have the gallon of gas selling at $2.98. Now it's currently selling at $4.51. So that's how expensive it is for a war. I was reading this kind of a book, and some of the things which I realized that it is true. One of the expensive or one of the threat of most countries is a country which involves itself in a war. When a country involves itself in a war, there are a lot of challenges which are associated with this issue. One of the challenges which is associated is that it creates room for the looting of the resources. I believe individuals who are in the industrial military complex are actually making a fortune because of this war. And also these resources, for instance, the United States spent 8 trillion US dollars, not Kenyan shillings, US dollars in the war which they had started or they had engaged between Iraq, and also we have Iran, not Iraq, but Iraq and Afghanistan, those two countries, those wars were from around 2000. They spent 8 trillion US dollars. So we have not counted other countries, the likes of Libya. We also have other countries which the United States has been involving itself in these wars. So when a country involves itself in a war, they drain the resources, and also some of the rules and laws tend not to be obeyed. You find that the president bypasses some of the laws which, if the country was in order, then those laws could have not been broken. So that's the disadvantage of a war. And you realize that now Donald Trump is involved in that war, and he has gone ahead, is manipulating markets. That's how challenging it is for the people of the United States to kind of support what Donald Trump stands for, more especially those who are in the MAGA movement, who are promised that there would be no new wars. I would like your thoughts. Subscribe, like, share. See you in my next one.